Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Aaron gripped the steering wheel tightly, his chest swelling with pride as a broad smile crept across his face. He was on his way home, basking in the joy of an achievement he had worked tirelessly to attain. Today marked a pivotal moment in his career. After years of dedication and perseverance, he had finally been rewarded with a promotion. The announcement had caught him off guard, a surprising high note to end what had otherwise been an exhausting week. Leaving work earlier than usual, he was eager to share the wonderful news. This promotion was more than just a new title. It symbolized fresh opportunities, particularly for Peggy, who had been yearning for something more. Aaron envisioned being able to support her aspirations, whether it meant re-entering the workforce or finally pursuing the training she had been considering. Peggy had spent over a year searching for a job that truly resonated with her interests, but nothing had aligned so far. To Aaron, this promotion represented a chance for a brighter future, not just for him, but for both of them. He pictured the perfect evening, revealing his raise over dinner, and maybe even celebrating at Peggy's favorite Italian spot, where the staff always greeted them warmly. The thought of seeing Peggy's astonished and joyful reaction made him chuckle as he turned onto their street. As his modest house came into view, a wave of anticipation surged through him. He pulled into the driveway and parked quickly, barely able to contain his excitement. As he stepped inside, however, an odd silence greeted him, broken only by the faint sound of a distant voice. Puzzled, Aaron paused. Was Peggy on the phone? "Peggy?" he called out, his voice echoing slightly in the quiet house. No response. Curious, he walked down the hallway and stopped abruptly when he saw her. Peggy was sitting on the couch, her robe loosely draped around her shoulders, a laptop perched on her knees. She hadn't noticed him at first, her attention absorbed by the screen as she laughed softly. When she finally glanced up and saw Aaron standing there, her expression shifted quickly. Surprise flashed across her face, followed by something harder to place. Was it discomfort? "Peggy? Who are you talking to?" Aaron asked, his brow furrowing in confusion. Peggy straightened up quickly, seeming momentarily flustered. "Oh, just an old friend," she said lightly, her fingers moving hastily to close whatever was on her screen. But despite her quick movements, Aaron caught a fragment of a voice, warm and distinctly male, saying, "See you soon, baby." Aaron's confusion deepened, his mind racing. "Who was that?" he pressed, his tone edged with disbelief. Peggy flushed, waving a dismissive hand. "It's nothing," she insisted. "He's just someone I used to know. Don't make a big deal out of it." Her casual tone struck Aaron as forced, and his instincts told him something was off. "If he's just a friend, why did you look so startled when I walked in?" he asked, his gaze narrowing as he studied her. Peggy let out a nervous laugh, pulling her robe more tightly around herself. "Aaron, you're overreacting. It's harmless. Sometimes I just need a little excitement, you know? Like in the movies, a bit of passion and drama. It's not serious." "Excitement?" Aaron repeated, his voice taut with suppressed anger. "You think this is exciting?" The joy he had felt just minutes earlier vanished, replaced by a rising tension. He had come home hoping for warmth and celebration, only to find Peggy laughing with a stranger and brushing it off as a joke. Peggy sighed dramatically, tossing her hair back and crossing her arms. "You don't get it, Aaron," she said, her tone laced with exasperation. "I'm stuck here all day while you're out working. It's lonely. I need more than just this routine. I want to feel alive again. Not like some housewife waiting for you to throw me scraps of attention." Aaron's fists clenched at her words, anger and disbelief coursing through him. "I've been working myself to the bone to give us a good life," he countered, his voice firm. "You have the freedom to figure out your career or stay home without worrying about money because I'm taking care of everything. And now you're telling me that's not enough?" Peggy rolled her eyes, letting out a dry laugh. "You're taking this way too seriously. Honestly, it's nothing. I thought you'd see the humor in it." Aaron's gaze hardened. "Humor," he said, his voice cold and steady. Do you think this is funny? Tell me the truth. Is he your lover? The question hung in the air, heavy and unspoken for a moment that stretched too long. Peggy exhaled sharply, shaking her head. Don't be ridiculous, Aaron. He's just a friend. Then explain this, Aaron demanded, gesturing toward her robe, which seemed to suggest more than casual comfort. Why are you sitting there, dressed like that, talking to him? Peggy shifted uncomfortably under his piercing stare before offering a sly smile. It's a vibe thing, Aaron, she said with a shrug. I like it when you get jealous. It makes me feel alive. Aaron's expression darkened as he tried to process her response. Are you serious? Is this some kind of game to you? Have you been watching too many shows or reading too many romance novels about love triangles? What's wrong with wanting a little fantasy? Peggy shot back, defiance creeping into her voice. Aaron stared at her, his thoughts swirling as the weight of her words pressed down on him. The perfect evening he had envisioned lay in tatters, replaced by a confrontation that left him questioning everything he thought he knew about his marriage. She locked eyes with him, her expression surprisingly bold. I just need something more, Aaron, something thrilling. That spark that keeps things alive, that helps people grow closer. Her voice was tinged with a wistful yearning. Aaron's lips pressed into a thin line, his hands finding their place on his hips as he fixed her with a hard stare. And you think flirting with another man is the answer? Is that what you believe our marriage needs? His voice was sharp, his disbelief unmistakable. Peggy let out an exasperated sigh, waving her hand dismissively. You're overthinking this, Aaron. You've been running yourself into the ground with work, and now you're reading too much into everything. This isn't about some silly affair. He let out a cold, bitter chuckle. Overthinking? No, Peggy, I'm furious. You expect me to buy this innocent act when it's obvious something's going on. How can you stand there and deny it? What have you been doing while I've been working to keep this family afloat? Rolling her eyes in frustration, she replied, You're being ridiculous. Ruining our relationship over some baseless suspicion? That's absurd. Aaron's patience was wearing thin. His voice turned steely. Prove it. Let me see your messages, your calls. Show me that this friend of yours is just a friend. I need to know what's been happening while I've been putting everything into us. Her flippant demeanor disappeared in an instant, replaced by a sharp defensiveness. Holding her laptop close, she snapped, No, Aaron. Everyone deserves a private space, and I won't let you invade mine. A deep sense of unease settled in Aaron's chest. The room felt charged with tension. Without another word, he turned and headed to the bedroom, his steps deliberate. He opened drawers and began tossing clothes into a bag with no regard for order. Peggy followed him, her tone shifting between alarm and confusion. What are you doing? He didn't stop or look at her, focusing instead on folding a shirt. You wanted excitement, right? That spark, that tension? Fine, Peggy. I'll give it to you. Her unease morphed into dread. What are you talking about? He finally turned to face her, his expression unnervingly calm. It means you can live on your own for a while and think about what you really want. Whatever game you're playing, it has no place in this marriage. Her confidence faltered, her face falling. She let out a dramatic sigh. Aaron, you're blowing this out of proportion. It was just a harmless attempt to add some fun, something to break the monotony. He shook his head, firm and resolute. The only thing I take seriously is this relationship, Peggy. Apparently, I'm the only one who does. I need time to think because I refuse to be the fool left in the dark while my wife breaks the monotony. As his words landed, Peggy's expression crumbled, and tears began streaming down her face. Her sobs were loud and theatrical. Aaron, please, don't do this. I was just trying to spice things up. He zipped his bag with a finality that matched his tone. If this is your idea of excitement, then maybe you'll appreciate some quiet to go with it. Figure out what you actually want because this version of excitement isn't for me. He brushed past her without looking back, the door closing heavily behind him, its thud marking the end of their argument. Outside, Aaron took a moment to breathe in the cool evening air. The steady rhythm of his footsteps as he walked away felt like a defining moment, a break from what had been. Pulling out his phone, he called someone he trusted. Tom, I need a place to stay for a while. His friend's response was immediate. Of course. We've got a spare room. Come by any time. Thanks, Aaron replied, his voice heavy. Just for a few days, until I figure things out. Driving off, the weight of the evening settled fully on his shoulders. Peggy's insistence that her actions were innocent didn't sit right. If she had nothing to hide, why was she so guarded? The thought gnawed at him. Over the following days, Aaron ignored her increasingly desperate messages and calls. Eventually, he blocked her number, focusing on regaining clarity. He rented a small room and began reaching out to a lawyer. With no children or shared assets, the legalities were simple, but the emotional toll was immense. He resolved to rebuild, determined not to accept anything less than the respect he deserved. If she's after excitement and drama, he thought grimly, she's welcome to it, without me. For the first time in days, a faint sense of peace flickered within him. As the months passed, the divorce proceedings steadily moved forward. Peggy made repeated attempts to contact Aaron, sending heartfelt messages, calling from unfamiliar numbers, and even penning letters imploring him to talk. Despite her efforts, Aaron kept his distance, his resolve fortified by the heavy burden of her unexpected betrayal. When the day of the divorce hearing arrived, Aaron anticipated a simple and uneventful process. To his surprise, Peggy was there, sitting anxiously with her gaze darting toward him as he walked into the courtroom. During the hearing, she seized a moment to address him directly. Her voice trembled and tears streamed down her face as she looked into his eyes. "Aaron, please, is there any chance we can fix this?" she pleaded, her voice breaking. "I know I made mistakes, but can't we at least try?" Aaron's expression remained steady, his eyes unwavering. "Peggy, we've been over this," he replied, his tone firm. "I can't." He took a deep breath before continuing. "I can't live with someone I don't trust. I can't spend my life wondering if I'll come home to more lies or manipulation. This isn't the life I want." His words were direct and final. Her tears came faster and her voice turned more frantic. "Aaron, I never wanted to hurt you. I thought it was harmless, just something silly. I never imagined it would come to this." "But it did," Aaron interrupted, his voice resolute. "And the damage is done. I can't keep living with that kind of chaos. It's over." He exhaled heavily, casting her one last look before turning away. With that, their divorce was finalized. Though Aaron carried the sting of her betrayal, he threw himself into his work, building a life rooted in stability and predictability. Peggy, on the other hand, faced the daunting task of starting over. She had to re-enter the workforce after years of absence, trading her comfortable lifestyle for a relentless cycle of job applications, rejections, and long, draining days. A year passed. Aaron's new life, though quieter, offered him a sense of security and calm. The constant uncertainty that had once plagued his marriage was gone. One evening, while sorting through his emails, a subject line caught his attention. It was from Peggy. His first instinct was to delete it, but a flicker of curiosity stopped him. It had been a full year since he had cut off all contact, ignoring her calls and messages. Perhaps this email would offer some kind of closure. After a moment's hesitation, he clicked it open. As he read, his emotions shifted: anger, disbelief, and unexpectedly, a hint of respect. Peggy had laid bare her feelings, admitting to things she had once tried to minimize. She confessed to engaging in intimate video calls with another man, describing them as meaningless and playful at the time, a way to add excitement to her routine. "I convinced myself it was harmless, just a game," she wrote. "I didn't realize how deeply it would hurt you, how it would destroy us." Her revelations didn't end there. She admitted that after Aaron left, she sought solace in the same man, hoping to fill the void left by their broken marriage. However, the relationship quickly turned toxic, and she ended it. Since then, she had spent the year piecing her life back together. The email was saturated with regret, each line heavy with remorse. Peggy acknowledged that losing Aaron had been the most painful lesson of her life, one she could no longer avoid. She detailed her struggles, finding a job, living independently, and facing her mistakes without the comfort of their marriage. I had to go through this to truly understand what I should have seen all along, she admitted. Toward the conclusion, Peggy reflected on Aaron's sacrifices and how much she had taken him for granted. I don't expect us to go back to what we had, she wrote. I just need you to know how sorry I am. I've grown, Aaron. While I'll always regret how things ended, I hope one day we can find a way to be friends. If not, I needed to at least tell you the truth and ask for your forgiveness. Aaron read the email again, struck by her honesty. Her willingness to take responsibility and confront her actions surprised him. For a fleeting moment, he felt a small measure of admiration for her perseverance. Still, the wounds she had inflicted ran too deep to repair. For days, Aaron wrestled with whether to respond. Part of him felt he should acknowledge her apology, offering her the closure she seemed to seek. Another part believed that silence would convey more than words ever could. After much thought, he sat at his computer to write a reply. His hands hovered over the keyboard, his thoughts focused. If she wanted the truth, he would give it to her, plain and unembellished. Peggy, he began, typing with steady resolve. I got your message, and I appreciate your honesty. But I think it's time you understood what went through my mind that night. The night I came home early. The moment I received the news of my promotion, I was filled with an overwhelming sense of joy. I couldn't wait to share it with you, to celebrate together as a married couple. In my mind, I envisioned telling you how this achievement could bring us closer to the life we had always dreamed of, a life of security, opportunity, and fulfillment. I even pictured how this success could help you pursue what might bring you happiness as well. But instead of the joyful celebration I imagined, I walked straight into a nightmare. What you called a game felt nothing short of a devastating betrayal, a wound that cut deeper than any mistake. It wasn't a simple lapse in judgment, Peggy. It was an act that burned itself into my memory. I can still see the image of you, laughing during that call, as if nothing else mattered, as if all the effort and sacrifices I had made meant nothing to you. He paused and read over the words he'd just written, allowing the pain of those moments to surface again. For months, he had avoided confronting the memory head-on, but there was a sense of necessity in finally putting it into words. When I walked out that night, I did so with absolute certainty that leaving was the right choice. That conviction has never wavered. Over the past year, I've come to understand how much better my life is without the constant uncertainty, the endless questioning, and the crushing humiliation of wondering what betrayal might happen next. I'm glad to hear that you've started to recognize where things went wrong and that you're working on moving forward. But as for me, my path doesn't include you anymore. We won't be friends, and we will never be partners again. I have no desire to hold on to the past or to carry the weight of what you've done. This is goodbye, Peggy. Please, let me go completely. Aaron typed his name at the bottom of the email and reviewed it one final time. There was no urgency, no simmering resentment, just a quiet confidence that he had expressed everything he needed to. With a single click, he sent the email and leaned back in his chair. The silence in the room was profound, but it felt lighter now. For the first time, he truly felt the weight lift, the realization settling in. He had finally let her go. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel.